everybody, and welcome back to another episode of MTG Study Hall here on TCG University. I, as always, am one of your hosts, Brett, and I am joined by my stalwart co-hosts,
Dave,
JC.
And before we get rolling, Dave is going to take care of the bookkeeping.
Yep, you can support the show by checking us out on Facebook at facebook.com/TCGUniversity, or subscribing at YouTube, youtube.com/TCGUniversity, or enrolling in our Patreon at patreon.com/TCGUniversity. Like all these awesome people. Andrew Dang, Iari Melkor, Clay Cardwell, Jay Rogers, Jarrett Hubbard, Jerome Weeks Jr., Justin Farst, Tyler Zane Pease, and William Stull.
All right,
Thank you.
and yeah, please like and please subscribe, and just tell a other person about this. It really helps on these early videos. We want them to let us keep doing this, so please do all of those things, or at least one of those things. Like, just pick one, like the least amount of difficulty thing. So anyway, we've got some very interesting stuff to talk about because, as always, Wizards is bombarding us with constant news. Before we launch into all of the topics, we are just going to talk about what we've done in Magic this past week and what we've done outside of Magic. I think JC went first last time, so I think no, it's JC's turn to go first. You're up, JC.
All right. So Magic has really just been buying some cards because I'm trying to build up my collection, build some more decks. So buying some Guilds of Ravnica, buying some more of the Spark. Just pretty much picking up some things. I kind of have a bad Magic habit of scratchy lottery, like buy a booster, like look for something shiny, resell the shiny to support a habit. This is probably why I drop out of Magic and stop playing sometimes, is because like I have problems maybe with it. So
the nice thing about this is like it's over like being addicted to crack or like meth. With meth, there's no foil meth. You don't get to go like, oh boy, this is it. This is that extra special meth. I can turn this into more meth. So you don't get that with less glamorous addictions.
You could always compare that to chasing the dragon as far as, shooting up heroin goes, but then we're going down quite the slippery slope on that.
Anyway, so
other than that, I've been playing a lot of Outer Worlds. It's a really, really compelling game that has characters that I ship just so hard and are so precious and so needed. So yeah, great job, Obsidian.
I agree. That cleaning robot, Sam.
Oh, I know.
Who he turned into a murder bot. Best character of all time. And then outside, that's it. That's both of them.
Other than that, I do a couple other podcasts. Check me out sometime. Rainy J, 1Y on Rainy, 2Ys on J.
Oh wow, we didn't talk about additional I don't know, not vamping. I don't know. Advertisement, plugging. There it is. That's the word I couldn't find.
I believe that is the preferred nomenclature.
Oh my! I couldn't think of the word.
Shameless self-promotion.
I couldn't think of the word plugging. This is gonna be a nightmare tonight. This is gonna be a bad one, guys. I'm just telling you now. Dave, what have you been doing? What's happening?
In Magic, I've been playing a lot of this sweet format they call Pioneer, because it turns out Grey Merchant is fairly medium in this format, and I've missed playing the Singleton Nykthos and Whip of Erebos and going from, I don't know how I win this game, to, all right, drawing 5 cards a turn, and I don't think I can lose anymore. So that's been pretty sweet.
Those deck lists are really fun.
It obviously, that's one of our topics for today, and we'll get to that later. But just the fact that, it feels like it's getting to the point where any standard deck that you liked at some point, RTR onward, is probably going to be viable.
Mm-hmm.
RTR?
So, Return to Ravnica.
Huh.
So.
Yeah, the start of the format.
Ravnica 2, if you will.
Return to Ravnica. Not to be confused with Return to Ravnica.
Which would be Ravnica 3.
Yes.
And I feel like there should be a pretty, obviously you have Electric Boogaloo for 2.
But
Ravnica harder. I don't know what you do for 3.
You could do Ravnica Revolutions.
A good day to Ravnica?
Yeah, these are all winners. And that's free, Wizards. That's free from us to you. So there you go.
Good day to Ravnica. As I'm laughing at my own terrible joke.
Much like Return of the Jedi, a decent entry into the saga.
Well, I mean, it's just because Lucas didn't want to spring for those extra letters for revenge. No, that's probably not it. Yeah, and in as far as outside of Magic, I've been playing Eyes of Heaven. If you're a fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, those people listening to us, check it out. I think it's still on PSN. It's kind of mindless. You get to beat things up. Been enjoying it. So
additional baking at all?
English muffins last
Oh,
night. Actually,
okay.
I burnt
From
the
scratch?
First half. Everything's from scratch, man. Like,
Okay.
if I want to, I guess I could go out and like buy one of the mixes, but that feels like it defeats the purpose.
Are you doing like your own yeast scenario, or
Yeah,
like...
no, I've got like a container of the Fleischmann's
Okay.
yeast.
Oh,
Okay, so you're not doing some
You're not
like...
catching like wild yeasts.
But you're not doing like a
buying
half-ass
things.
like it's
like
the-
going to wineries and getting like.
Well, I mean, I've seen some tutorials on how you can make your own yeast,
Yeah.
but that feels really ambitious. Let me just go ahead and create this living thing and really hope I don't give myself food poisoning
But
or
so-
kill anyone.
But you're not doing like the pre-made dough.
No, we're making
Okay.
making my own dough.
It's right so that you get to watch it rise or come home
No,
and
no,
it's-
I'm definitely not going to watch it rise because that's going to take forever.
Okay.
I'll definitely like come back in an hour and go, oh shit, that rose.
Okay.
I guess that's what yeast does.
That's
Neat.
it. Yeah.
So it's not too terribly hard. If you got like a mixing bowl and all that stuff, then I'd recommend it. Just grind out a whole bunch of French bread.
Okay.
Coming soon, our side podcast, Cooking with Dave.
I would watch that. But
Just
I would
one-
watch this show, so I don't know what that says about my
lot of-
podcast judgment skills.
A lot of 4-letter, 1-syllable words watching me cook.
Okay.
Probably bleed everywhere as I cut my hand open multiple times. Thankfully, I've not cut myself yet, and I also did not break Tam's wonderful mic.
No, that'd be a bummer.
Fantastic, so.
He wouldn't even like. I was asking like, he said I'm not allowed to like do a mic drop, and then I said like, what if I replaced it? He wouldn't even like pitch me like how much I'd have to pay him to drop the mic.
You're gonna have a bad time.
So-
You just bring in like a different mic from outside.
I
and
could
just
bring
have
my
it
own
on you.
mic from home. Okay.
Yeah.
like
I'm
one of those, like, do they make like plastic toy mics that you can get like from
I'm sure
Walmart
they
or
do.
something?
Oh, they used to. Okay. Anyway, oh boy. Okay, we aren't even to topic one. Okay. In Magic, I have been
Scheherazade.
playing Brawl. I played Brawl on Wednesday because that's the day I'm allowed to play Brawl. As of right now, Brawl is still only available on Arena on Wednesdays, so I sat down. I actually recorded all of the games I played, so at some point, we're going to get me playing Brawl up on the channel. I try to be witty or at least not mind-numbing to watch, so we'll see how that works out. But I played a lot of Brawl. Playing Brawl after the podcast, that's the plan. We're going to go back to my house and play Brawl. And if you want to come, Dave, you can. JC's already coming.
I'll remote in.
Okay.
Via the Discord. Just call me up on the Discord.
Okay.
Which you can have access to our Discord if you join our Patreon. It's
I think-
$1 donation.
$1.
Yeah.
$1.
All right. Just hop on in. You can watch me get frustrated as I try and play bad combo decks.
Yeah. No,
And, heckle Brett as he's playing Brawl.
I'm not streaming yet. We're just recording, but I could stream. I've got
Nice.
it could happen.
It's a very good
I
possibility.
can't delete the embarrassing games that I recorded where I played for 40 minutes and just punt. I punted which defeats the purpose of deleting it if I talk about
or
it.
where someone mercilessly would not concede
Well,
and
I-
just play.
I've done those. Yeah, no, some poor fool made me grind that game out. I went down to 1 twice. I gained like 24 life that game. He would not pick his cards up, so we played for 40
Yeah.
minutes.
I mean, that's fine. It's his. It's at their discretion as to whether or not they want to concede.
And they didn't want to.
Everyone
if they do
enjoys
not
the
want
game
to-
differently.
Yeah, it's not enough that I win. They need to lose. Just remember that. I want you to remember that the next time someone doesn't concede.
So that's what I've done in Magic, and then outside of Magic, I've been watching a lot of BoJack Horseman. I finished Big Mouth of season 3, which that show was great. Both Netflix shows, so you probably have access to Netflix or somebody's Netflix account because they don't care. They don't care. Apparently, Disney is like cracking down. Like if you share Disney Plus, like they will find you.
It honestly, I could care less about the Mandarin. I'll wait for their streaming service to go belly up.
You
and
mean
then
the
pick it up on
Mandalorian?
The Mandarin. I think that's
Mandarin.
yeah.
Oh no, sorry, that's completely different.
That's an
thing.
orange,
Right.
I
Oh.
think.
I thought that was like the really
Too much.
problematic villain of Iron Man.
Oh, yes,
that they
yeah, I think that's
had
right.
Ben Kingsley play.
It's also an orange.
So, and it's also an orange.
Too
So-
much cooking with Dave.
Oh boy,
It's,
yeah. This is when you guys.
I've just got food on the mind. Obviously, it's been playing too many Okos.
Oh my gosh.
So?
The transition we have right now. So
Boom,
we're
Oko.
going into topic 1, which is Oko and whether or not he should be banned. I was going to say whether or not we should ban him, which I don't think we have that authority yet. But Wizards, if you want to put us in charge of the BNR announcements and decisions, that's fine. We can probably handle it.
I have one caveat on that.
Okay.
I want to be in control of some amount of reprints. I want to see what standard looks like for the week that we allow necropotence to be a thing. And Whoa.
Well, that sounds fun. All right, we're not even gonna.
Just watch players quit in droves.
Let's just make cards legal. Just go. Necropotence is
Speaking
legal on
Players
every.
quitting in droves.
Players. Okay, back on. Oh god,
Yeah.
Jason
Okay.
wants us to be on topic and
Yeah.
talk about what we're supposed to. That's fair.
Structure.
Oko has already been banned in Brawl.
In
Yes.
Brawl on Arena only. So technically, he's still legal in paper. Not a ton of people are playing Paper Brawl. You should be. I am. I play Paper Brawl once a week. But he's banned on Arena, and they banned him right away on Arena. So this is kind of the scenario. So just for a little bit of background, so Wizards had their not emergency but totally an emergency ban of Field of the Dead. And then the next ban and restricted announcement for Standard and every format but Pioneer, we'll get to that later, is going to be on Monday, November 18th. And they've said, we are not doing any bans before that because coming up this weekend, I guess will have just happened when you're watching this video.
Tournament.
We are doing Mythic Championship 6. And so they don't want people who have been testing and prepping for that format to go, oh, we're banning Oko 5 days before the format. Figure out what you're playing. So they've straight up said, we aren't doing any bans until the 18th. So
expect to see a lot of Oko decks.
we've already, I think we've seen some of the deck lists, or maybe it's just some of the qualifying ones, but there are a huge swath of Okos. And so
Which, amusingly enough, the Field of the Dead was a way to mitigate Oko a little bit. And
It was definitely one of the concerns that there was that, okay, we banned Field of the Dead. Does this make Oko
does
too
this
good?
make Oko too good? And you kind of saw, I mean, Oko was already exploding a little bit before the ban, and then after they banned Field of the Dead, Oko.
oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I liked my food matchup against the Field of the Dead decks. So
I have enjoyed the elk memes, though.
We are, oh boy.
We are awash with elk memes.
It's all we've got right now. It's everything. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I tried to make a joke, but it got turned into a 3/3 elk. No, it's kind of constant. I've seen several people like, I'm checking out. I'm done with this. I'm tired of the elk memes. I'm not tired of the elk memes. We're seeing.
And then you say, "Okay, boomer."
Yeah. Oh, that's the other one. That's our. We've got our magic meme and our fresh meme. Oh boy. Well, anyway, really quick before we launch back into Oko. So the digital team and the paper team are pretty distinct from what we understand. They kind of operate on their own, and so we are not going to get a paper Oko ban until the 18th if we get one at all.
Which I feel like they shouldn't be such a separate team, but
I
that's me.
I completely agree. That's how we ended up with an announcement for Historic and then Pioneer like 2 weeks later because the two they're just not talking to each other. It doesn't seem.
And they need to, because there's so many people who split their playtime between playing a lot online and playing some in paper. Most people don't play either one or the other, so I think it's good to have consistent rule bases between the two. But
And it's weird that, and so the arena team, the Tuesday before the first Brawl Wednesday happened, they just banned. They said Oko is banned in Brawl on arena as the commander and in the rest of the deck. You can't run Oko at all. We aren't going to give you any wild card redemptions. You can still play him in standard. Oko's banned in Brawl on digital, I guess. Well, not even on digital, on arena only. And so if I had to guess. If you're trying to open up your big cool new format, this is our first Brawl day, you don't want everyone going like, well, it'll just be Oko. So like it makes sense that they did that, but no, yeah, then we end up with this world where we've got this ban announcement, but it's only for this format and it's only for this client. And then I mean, and I read this as I think Oko is getting banned in Brawl, and I think he's getting banned in paper on Monday the 18th.
I kind of read it as almost a kind of playtest. I feel like this gives a way for them to see what Brawl will look like without Oko, without impacting the larger community that's going to be playing Brawl. I think they are showing consistently pushing that they are caring more about Brawl, and they want it to be a thing that is solid, complete, and especially with how they're pushing Commander, they want to push that like Singleton and getting people into that format that way. So I feel like banning it just in that one format gives you a way to kind of look to see what decks get built after that ban in Brawl and see what it does to that environment. So I think that's one benefit. I still don't like it, but I thought point that out at least.
No, and it's interesting, and like as the idea of the trial thing, but I honestly think the most people playing Brawl are probably on arena. Like standard, it might be more paper, like people playing paper. I don't know the split.
The
but
demographics
I'd say
of it,
most
yeah.
of people playing Brawl right now are playing it on Arena.
That's fair.
So the main Brawl format has said, we're doing this. Now, I would hope internally there was just one of those, hey, are you guys going to ban Oko and Brawl on the 18th? Yeah, we are. Okay, we're going to do it early because we don't want to muck up our release. We don't want to muck up day one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that's what it was and not that two different teams of people get to make those decisions, because that seems troubling. If that's how the company works.
It feels like it's just free information that they could be getting as well. If they're going to ban Oko and Brawl, and they're thinking about potentially banning them in Standard, this feels like it's not going to give them infallible data. It's not going to be perfect. It's
Nope.
going to be far from perfect, but it's going to give them something of an idea. Okay, well, we ban Oko. Now what's the dominant thing?
What's the
going to be in
dominant thing?
Singleton?
Yeah. Okay.
And it could follow actual Standard. Offhand, I'm not sure what's going to be, a dominant deck with the absence of Oko, but I think Teferi's probably going to be a big part of it.
Yep. Teferi Time Raveler, right? That's the 3-mana
Yeah.
one?
Yep.
Okay.
So there's been a fair bit of talk about not necessarily banning Oko, just banning things that enable Oko, like the bird.
Yeah, so Gilded Goose. Oh, I guess really quick, are we at a consensus? Do we all think Oko should be banned? I think he should be banned. Dave, do you think he should be banned in Standard?
No, I think it's fine. I think the card's very, very good, but the card was just printed in Standard. We still have plenty of sets that are going to be released. I'm usually not a huge fan of WotC deciding, oh, we made a problematic card, now we need to print an answer for it. We need to print good answers for it, because then you end up with them not testing things and creating worse problems. But I don't necessarily think that it's dominant enough that it needs to be banned. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I've been playing a lot of blue-white, and blue-white seems to be favorable against Oko. I mean, it just goes into the rock, paper, scissors meta. Like, the Oko decks are probably the best decks, yeah. Are they unbeatable? No, they're not unbeatable.
They're not.
There are ways that you can play against them.
But it is format warping. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's certainly warping the format. I think you're right. I think people, and usually they don't like things along those lines, but I think that, we used to have the lightning bolt test when lightning bolt was still in Standard. Does this card do anything
Best
when it
card in the
enters
game?
the play? Does it die to lightning bolt? All right, so the example was Vampire Nighthawk. It was a very, very strong card, but it just died to lightning bolt. So
Yeah,
it
it
wasn't
didn't do
overly
anything.
great in that format.
Right.
I think in subsequent formats it was still bad. But the idea being, all right, now I guess we have the Oko test. What does this card do against Oko? Nothing. It's probably not good enough to play right now. If you look at like Questing Beast can potentially do something to it if they don't have elks in play.
Or, yeah, they can block with the elks, or they can just turn your beast into an elk, and now...
Assuming it's still alive, yeah, certainly. I mean,
Well, unfortunately, beast doesn't kill Oko. Oko comes down,
yeah,
Oko
it's a
pluses.
4/4 and it's going to be a 5. But the short version is maybe it needs to be banned at some point. I think it's premature to start talking about it. We'll know more about the Mythic Championship, but I don't think that the card has gotten to the point where it needs to be banned.
Okay. JC, where do you come down on it?
To pick up where you left off there, I think the Mythic Championship will give us some information on just how the pros are using it and how it is warping or not warping and what beats it and where we are with that. My thoughts kind of go like this. I also think it's troubling when you ban cards in the first place, because it does weird things to the format, it does weird things to the feelings. I think it's also troubling when you ban the titular character of a set, because like that, I mean, people like the lore, people like the story and the fluff, and when you make the story and fluff piece of a set a banned card, that's I mean it's a thing. As Dave said, I don't think it's unbeatable. I think it is definitely format warping, but I am starting to think that Magic will, the Magic that the gods that be, will come down on the side of banning things like the bird and things that help enable some of the Oko decks instead of banning Oko.
See, I know, I absolutely agree it feels bad, particularly on a card that I think is the cheapest at $40. Oko's real pricey. I've been seeing a lot of deck lists where we are main decking what should be sideboard cards.
Oh, yeah, Veil of Summer and Mystical Dispute is the blue counterspell thing that
Yes.
has a reduction if you're countering a blue spell.
And then there's the black one that destroys a creature or a planeswalker, which is Noxious Grasp, I think. Noxious Grasp destroys a green or white creature or planeswalker. It might even exile it, but
It destroys it and you gain a life.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
For
So
2 mana.
I think Veil of Summer is way too pushed of a hate card. Eric at Krypton Comics referred to it as he's trying to call that green Elemental Blast instead of red Elemental Blast, which is a fun reference to an older card, a mono red card that could counter a blue spell or destroy a blue creature, which isn't really what red does. And
Good times though.
I mean, it's a sweet card, sees legacy play, but I think that card's too pushed. And I mean, we could ban Veil of Summer, we could ban Nissa, we could ban Goose, we could ban Hydroid Krasis. I think if I was in charge of it, I would ban Oko. I think I would have considered banning him when we banned Field of the Dead. Like, I think he is too much. Like, if we're main decking 6 cards to kill Oko, that can't even, like, because, like, no one's even running white cards right now in Standard. So if you're running a card that says destroy a green or white creature, you're running a card that says destroy you're running a black card that says destroy a green creature or planeswalker. And if we're main decking that, Standard's not helping.
And that's the talk about how it's warping the format, is that when the format's being played arguably in ways that you wouldn't play the format absolutely with it. But I mean, that happens. So
Instances like this are why I'm generally a big fan of playing rogue decks, because you end up with scenarios along these lines. Is Oko the best? Is Sultai food or green blue food the best deck? Probably. Would it be in your best interest to play a deck that has a favorable matchup to the best deck in the format? I think so. I think I'd rather be playing a deck that has a favorable matchup against the best deck in the format than play the best deck in the format, because I think that I'm going to have a much easier time in a tournament having an inherent advantage against certain decks than I would playing mirrors all day.
Well,
that's true.
I think one of the issues I'm seeing, and again, I wish we had all those Mythic Championship deck lists, but I think a lot of the decks that are trying to hate him out are just running him. We're just like, okay, we're going to run the red-black sacrifice, but we're going to make it red-black, blue-green sacrifice so we can run Okos and Hydroid Krasis. So that's a deck that we might be seeing at the championship. So if we're going, here's an archetype in red and black, let's splash 2 colors in Oko so we can have a good matchup against Oko and have Oko.
I guess the next question would be, is it probably a good thing that we have decks that can easily support 4 colors like that? Because it feels like a lot of these types of formats where you have a certain amount of fixing, there's ways to stop people from having greedy strategies like that instead of I don't know exactly what I'm going on about, but we've played in the formats before, like Encroaching Waste, Terramorphic Expanse, Field of Ruin. Field of Ruin honestly seems like it'd be probably a really solid reprint. We just had it in Standard. I think it would be fine to bring it back in Standard.
That card should never leave Standard.
Yeah, it should just be printed in core sets.
That should be in every core set until the end of time, and then we might not have had to have a Field of the Dead ban if we had just had that card.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
That's a card I think we always need.
Yeah, agreed.
So now I'm just gonna try and smokescreen you guys into not banning Oko, but let's reprint Field of Ruin. Let's make Field of Ruin evergreen.
Well, that's kind of the argument a little bit against banning him, is that when's the next set come out? In
January.
Yeah, mid-January.
So we're not too far off of changing the environment a little bit of Standard, and maybe we find some answers there and changes things up.
And even if they did decide that they wanted to ban Oko, they've set the precedent that they're okay with unbanning cards from Standard as well.
Yeah.
Near the end of last season, they unbanned Frostodon. I believe Rampaging?
Yeah, Rampaging Frostodon.
Yeah.
Fun card.
Which I think that's the only time I've ever seen a card unbanned from Standard.
I think
normally
so.
It's one of those, it's, to have its name stricken from every post on Obelisk. But they unbanned it, so it's possible they might just do that for the sake of the last half of November and December to keep people playing, and then when the new set comes out, say, all right, let's take everything off the ban list and try it again, guys.
Or maybe when Zendikar comes out in the fall.
Zendikar 3.
Zendikar. return to Zendikar.
Return to Zendikar. A good day to Zendikar.
Zendikar Revolutions.
Maybe we'll get some full art lands.
We are. I promise you. I will. Everyone on Reddit will always say if this happens, I will or won't eat a card, which is absurd. But here to get those views and those clicks. So if they don't give us full art lands in
Full
the
art
Zendikar
Zendikar
set,
lands.
I will eat a full art Zendikar land on this podcast. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be that guy. So
Just do it anyway. Do it either way.
I don't want to eat a card ideally, but
Hear me out. Eat a forest. It's more nutritious.
I will eat a full art forest from a previous Zendikar set if the upcoming Zendikar set does not have full art or specialty lands. If they give us our standard land with our standard land box, if that's all we get in Zendikar, which we won't, I will eat a full art land on this podcast because that's what you guys want to see me do is suffer. I think we probably could keep going on the Oko ban.
Well, I want to keep egging you on to eat more full art lands.
Okay, well, we don't have to just, I mean, believe me, we've got the whole show ahead of us for that. So any final thoughts on an Oko ban before we jump into our next topic?
I think it's a sucky situation. I just do. I feel like talking of banning a titular character and banning someone who, you know, is important and kind of a cool card mechanically it feels bad. And the talk of it feels bad. And the fact that it's warping the format feels bad. So yeah, I feel bad about this topic.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, it's a vintage powerhouse. It's good in Legacy. It's good in Modern.
It's good in Pioneer.
Doesn't matter because it just dies in Pioneer. That is not a black card, so I have not been playing it.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's obviously a push card. It's a good card. It's very, very strong.
I think it'll see play forever.
Yeah, I mean until it gets banned. I mean I don't necessarily think that we should ban it at this time. You know, next week I might very well be looking at the results for the Mythic Championship and go, oh shit, this card needs to go. Wait a second. Oh, we had 32 copies in the top 8, huh? Yeah, it should probably not be legal in Standard.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll see what happens at the Pro Tour. Maybe we're just gonna have some sort of breakout strategy, or maybe Blue White's gonna do something, and people are gonna realize, oh, I mean, Oko's good if no one's planning on playing against Oko.
Hype for that.
I can certainly ramble on about that for a while too, but no one wants to hear that.
Well, if they do, I think next week we're going to talk about we're gonna spend some time and talk about the Mythic Championship. That very well might be a large portion of that conversation on how Oko ended up performing. So we'll talk again about this next week.
Oh yeah, we'll have plenty of time too for you know, the stats, what cards were being played and what number, what archetypes were good. Hopefully some sort of breakthrough strategy that nobody saw coming that'll make things interesting.
Yeah. So
right.
okay. So I think we're covered enough on that one here. So we're gonna roll into our next one.
And to talk about Abby, Dreamy, Elkie McGee.
Yes. No. Yeah. We're gonna do a whole topic where we don't talk about Elks, Oko's abs, none of it. We're gonna do a whole. At least we're gonna try a whole.
Does he have abs?
Oh, he is.
He does have abs.
Have you not looked at the card?
Have you not looked at his abs?
It has a lot of words on it, and I assume they're mostly good. Dude, I don't read cards. I don't read things. I have people explain it to me.
I know I don't ask for this a lot, but on the screen right now, I want to see Oko's abs. So I'm sorry, Tyler, but I want to see them abs.
Editing team abs.
I want to see them abs. Oko Thief of Crowns. Look at them abs. Okay. We're going to talk about mystery boosters. So this is the newest product that's coming out soon. I don't even know if we have a release date. We might.
I didn't know it was a thing until you guys started talking about it.
I think
when we
they
got
announced it
So it's been announced
yesterday.
Well, we've known there's a mystery product for like a month. So basically, I'll fill.
Or like they did it like an opening or something like that.
Well, so that happened today. So
Today,
they
yeah,
told
okay.
us that we are getting a mystery booster product, and the people at the GP who are playing on the GP on November 7th. So that is the day we're recording. We've seen some of these cards today. This is the first time. So I don't know. You guys, when you're watching this, are going to know more about this set than we do right now, but we're still going to talk about it. So a month or so ago, they said, hey, we're doing a mystery booster thing. We're going to release it for GPs and Magic Fest, and we're going to have it available at these places, and we're also going to release it to stores so you guys can get in on the fun. And they told us nothing else about it. And we asked questions, and Morrow said, like,
Because
okay,
guess what? It's a mystery.
it's a mystery. And it's
So
actually,
is mystery the part of the official name?
I think it just said, the literal
Yes,
booster says mystery booster.
and I assume there's like a question mark or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like yeah. It's
I
like,
think they're black
yeah,
packaging.
they're like black and a little bit like purple accent.
I was actually expecting exactly that. Yeah, with purple and
So
everything.
it just says
like,
straight
like
up,
who's that Pokemon?
yeah.
kind of. I mean, I'd hope for like the green and black and go for like a Riddler-esque thing, but they probably don't want to do that. But all right, so your mystery booster.
So this happened because so with one of the previous Masters set, I think it might have been maybe it was Eternal Masters, maybe it was it was Iconic Masters.
With the purple.
No, so when they released Iconic Masters, they were just going to have they didn't give us a preview season until like the last week, and so it was going to be like, come to this event and play it for the first time, but here are a bunch of cards that are in it. And the professor at Tolarian Community College was like, it would have been really cool to just not tell us anything. You should have just had him open it blank. And so they straight up, I think Gavin just straight up said, we took the professor's advice. We aren't telling you a single card in this set. Go to this event, open it. So they did so, and so now we have a tweet. Gavin gave us a tweet today, and he told us what is in these. So he described it as Chaos Draft meets Future Sight. So every pack has so this is kind of they're playing around with card collation in the boosters. What we're going to see. So every pack is going to have 2 commons and uncommons of each color. So that's 10 of the cards. There's going to be 1 gold common or uncommon. There's going to be 1 artifact or land that's a common or uncommon. There's going to be 1 M15 forward rare or mythic rare, and then there's going to be 1 pre-M15 card in its original frame. So these cards, they have reprinted them. They're not using old cards. There's a little symbol on the bottom left-hand corner, but I believe they all have their original set symbol in the set symbol section.
They're essentially, they're not repacks, they're reprints that are kind of like repacks.
They made us a cube, basically.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, because it almost sounds like this is almost like Time Spiral.
No, then this
This is Time Spiral 2, which I really like Time Spiral.
It's Time Spiral Cube.
All right.
And I forgot. There's one other thing I want to save it for last. So then there's also a playtest card. So a little bit of history for people who might not know this. When they are making sets at Wizards, they playtest as soon as they can because they want to try stuff out, iterate, see what's going on. So they don't get to play with the fancy end product cards we do. They make they have a program where they can enter the necessary information. There's no art in the art frame. And then it gets printed onto stickers. And then there's a guy, I can't think of his name, but it's literally one of his job duties is he has to put the stickers on actual Magic cards. So if it's a green card, they'll put it onto a green card. So like you can see the edges around the sticker. So you can like, okay, it's a green card because you're used to shortcutting like that. And so they will stick the sticker under the correct card and then they'll play test with that. And they sometimes show us what they look like and like, hey, here's an earlier version of this card or that card.
Art books, things like that.
And so they have included, they're not actual playtext card because according to some people who played in the event today on Reddit, it's actually printed on there, but it looks like they slapped a sticker on another Magic card. And so some of them, and they all say not for constructed play. So I'm assuming you're not supposed to be playing with them in the limited environment, but technically that's not constructed play. So I don't know if if you want to have a serious event, you just take it out like, oh, it's an extra bonus thing. I'll set it aside. What a larf.
So what I've heard about those cards is that they're pretty jokey and hard to actually conceptualize playing. So I think they're not meant to be played at all.
Well, I think you could. I was looking at some of them. Some of them seem semi-playable, so it might be that you want more of like an unhinged and unset feeling. Go ahead, but if you're playing for like a money tournament, go ahead and take them out. It's a fun extra thing. Right. We don't know for sure. They said that there is a convention version and the store version that we can go to our local game stores and buy. We don't know if we're going to get the playtest cards in both. For now, we just know they're in the convention ones. Hopefully we get them. So like JC said, they're kind of jokey. Some of them are jokes or memes or references to old school stuff.
Well, there was an Niv-Mizzet sliver. If I
yes,
that's
Sliv
one of the few that I
Mizzet.
saw. Oh God, that's what it's called.
I think it's literally called Sliv Mizzet.
That sounds
Sliv Mizzet.
that sounds right. That's,
there's a sliver that turns your Eldrazi into slivers and then gives them Annihilator 1 into Void, and it's a legendary creature. So like they kind of snuck in uncards into this thing.
I'm sorry, that's funny.
One of them, the other thing is though, there are cards in there that look like cards that they probably pitched, but then they said this is too hard. So one is it's literally just called Control Finisher. It's a 6/6 with Shroud for 6. And its power, no, it's not a 6/6. It costs 6, I think. It's got Shroud. And it says the power and toughness of this card are equal to the turn of the game. what game turn
Yeah,
is. And,
I could see where that would be a huge problem.
And then
I
Yeah.
would never want a card
and
like
parentheses,
that.
so the reminder text said, "Keep track of your own turns if you're running this card. We mean you, Mark."
Oh, that's
So like that's on the card.
throwing some shade on
Mark
Mr.
Rosewater.
Rosewater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
So I don't think they're even meant to be played in like an kind of way. I think they're just fun to have. They show some of the design behind it. Some they're good things to get signed.
I don't see. Here's the thing. I don't know.
Do we have artwork on them?
Yes, they have like hand drawn artwork. So here,
Is this on par with Look at Me, I'm the DCI?
No, some of them,
Mr.
so like that-
Rosewater's artwork.
Here's some of it. So some of it looks more serious. Some of it's kind of jokey. One
Oh
of these.
my.
One of the
Yes.
cards. Everyone, go ahead and look up Golgari Death Swarm.
We'll give you a second.
It's a 4/4 for black, green, and 3. It's got flying and vigilance. That's actually a reference to the last Great Designer Search. There was a big test you had to take to participate in the Great Designer Search. One of the questions was, you have to make a 4/4 creature with flying and vigilance, and it can't be blue or green, or sorry, no, it can't be blue or white, which are the colors that card would be, or something along those lines. It gave you color restrictions. What color should this card be printed in? And the correct answer was green black, because black is tertiary in flying and green is tertiary in vigilance. And so if you can't, we'll get into this at some point. There are rules on how.
I mean, red has flying when it throws things or shoots things
Red
or
gets
flings
flying
things
on dragons, but
on
it's-
dragons.
But and green's not supposed to get much flying, so they have rules on what appears where on cards. So that one was and that question got talked a lot about. That question got talked about after the quiz went out, and people were like, "Why is this?" And there was like an article even about like why we're doing why this card is the correct answer. But so this is just a reference to
because
that.
color theory is very important to people.
And then, but so there's definitely joke cards, but then there's cards like an enchantment that makes a land token every turn. So that's something they've probably thought about.
Probably, yeah, but I think that's not a great idea.
And so that's why it's
But
here.
I'm not part of R&D.
So there's cards in here that probably aren't a great idea, but they're cool. There's one called Time Sidewalk, and you take an extra turn for like 8 or 9, for 8, and then if it's in your opening hand, you reveal it, and you shuffle 4 copies of Time Walk into your deck.
Huh.
Yeah. That's weird.
That feels like a Hearthstone card to me.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It feels like they're like, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And they're like, well, we can't make that card. So they give it to us in this way. And so it's going to, I'm assuming they have magic backs. I don't know that for sure. But so if you like that Sliver Eldrazi thing, that's a legendary creature. If your play
hilarious.
group says, yeah, you can run this as your commander, do it. That sounds cool. So that's what, just like uncards. I know a lot of people who'll say, there's legendary creatures from the unsets. If your friends are cool with you running that in commander, do it. That's cool. So I don't think we should be like, I don't think it's fair to say like, oh, these cards, just ignore them. It's like, they're not for constructed, but we can play them for fun.
I think they're cool things to have, though. And like, I don't mind getting something that's there to collect and get signed and see the design process behind and just have a cool thing to show off. I think those are valid enough reasons to give a thing. It helps you feel part of the whole design process, and that's a cool feeling.
Now, as I'm thinking about it, there's one thing with these test cards that I'm really looking forward to.
What's that?
Fan art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I'm gonna give it about a week before we start seeing some really cool stuff. And if you're watching this and you're a fan of doing your own fan art, show us some cool stuff. Link to the comment below.
Yeah, I want to see your
Do
My
that.
Little Pony fan art.
Yeah, I want to see, because like all these cards.
Let's keep it magic themed, if at all
Hey,
possible.
It is
Ponies
Magic
the
themed.
Gathering, man. That's official. There are
Did you see that
Fluttershy.
Nightmare Moon?
Fluttershy. The words
my.
Fluttershy appear on a Magic the Gathering card. It's silver border, but it says Magic on the back and it says My
Sure
Little
does.
Ponies on the front.
Just a quick note on that. I am sad that they are so unplayable. Like
You can do them as commanders.
yeah, they're just not. They're almost uncards in how
I mean,
they're.
they are
they've got
silver
the silver
border.
border. Yeah.
Well, yes, I know, but they're silly. Like, I wish they were like plausible. Like you could plausibly, this could be a Magic card maybe.
Well, I mean, we already
Someday.
we already had a pony in standard not too long ago, Crested Sunmare.
Yeah,
I think it was a
It
horse.
was a horse.
It was a
but
horse.
Whatever, horse pony. I don't notice a
lots
difference.
of
They're clearly
nightmare
the same animal
nightmare
with
beasts in
no
Magic
distinction
the Gathering.
that's needed between the two at all.
Okay, so that's the details on this product. So
How do we feel about it?
Well, that's exactly what I wanted to ask. Because here's something. So, Dave, you're fairly plugged into Magic, it seems. I mean, you're on the podcast about it.
that.
You didn't even know about this product until today.
Honestly, with a lot of these ancillary products, I just kind of tune them out at this point. Like, there's another Commander set. Hey, there's going to be a Conspiracy set. Hey, look at this other product that's going to happen that has no impact on Standard, and there might be 2 relevant cards for Eternal formats. I'm a fan of reprints. Reprints are sweet. They're great for Modern and Legacy, but...
So far, Manamorphose, Elish Norn, I saw a pretty sweet list. I'll actually pull up a couple here while we're going. So, I mean, at the very least, it looks like we're going to have some opportunity to get some more of those Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, and maybe Vintage cards out there. And Commander cards, like Rhystic Study, I think, is getting reprinted. So they are pushing the reprints hard. But, I mean, it's hard to know about it when they don't tell us what's in it.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of difficult to get hyped about it,
It's hard
too.
to hype something that it's like hype for the mystery. I mean, there was some hype that it was going to be a way to support Pioneer. But then again, like it's like you said, it's hard to support something when it's like spooky mystery. You know.
Yeah. Now I guess they do kind of have the added bonus that if there is no list that's actually spoiled for it, and they're just not going to tell people what's in the set, what's to say they can't just change it on the fly?
Yeah.
Which I would find kind of cool if one GP has a completely different set list than the other.
Well, so is the set list for it actually official? Like, or can it just be we're going to continually change this?
I'm assuming the print run's probably locked in. They've got to make decisions and execute on that. We will, by next week, we'll have answers to some of these. We will know how many cards are in the set. We'll know what is at least in the convention boosters. It's possible the convention boosters and the store boosters are different. There is probably a finalized one. They might not release it to us. We might have to live like back in the olden days before the internet was super popular, and we might have to like collate our own set list.
I was gonna say, do I have to buy a copy of Duelist magazine?
Oh, that would be the ultimate. That'd be the ultimate. Like, you want to go old school? You buy the Duelist. We're doing another issue.
Whoever still has the rights to Inquest, just throwing shade on them.
Someone turns on the lights to their old printing studio.
Back in business, boys.
So my kind of feeling is kind of a little meh. Like, they're all kind of reprints. They're all fairly modern-ish cards. I think it kind of sports Pioneer. I think the mystery thing's a little fun. Chaos drafts are fun. But I think for like a buying them kind of thing, unless you're gonna do like a chaos draft kind of thing, it's kind of just okay. Like, that's kind of how I feel about it. It's fine.
Do you think it was so? Normally they will give us for a supplementary product. We might just get 1 week of spoilers, but normally they'll hype us up. They'll get us jazzed. Do you think it was worth, like, as a consumer of Magic, are you happy they tried something new? Are you happy they went, we aren't telling you, see who goes to the GP and post pictures of their cards? Or would you have rather said, like, we're doing a cube product, here's our list? Is it worth the surprise for those? Because it's not going to be a surprise for us. Even the store-bought ones, right. Somebody will put a list together.
I like that they are supporting different ways to enjoy Magic. And I think Chaos and Cube drafting is a way to enjoy Magic. And I like when they do that. When they choose to push different ways to enjoy the game.
Would you have rathered? So I'm happy they're doing this product in general. Would you have rathered that they'd given us a normal release, or are you happy that they did something weird to try it out?
I would have just liked a little bit more clarity on the boundaries of it, to hype it up instead of the complete kind of like mystery of it.
Because it's gonna be this wide open.
Yeah.
Enjoy Time Spiral 2. We don't want to tell you anything about it. Figure it out.
So I mean, Dave, would you have rathered a more traditional one, or are you okay with the weirdness?
Again, I'm just like, I've known about this for less than an hour at this point, so it's kind of, it's probably, I don't think that it can possibly be a negative to me.
Fair enough.
I'll put it that way.
I mean, as a Magic fan, it is your right and possibly obligation to find some way that this has damaged you and just rant about it. I mean, form an opinion and just get really mad and probably go on Reddit and just lose your shit
I will
and just
put out
freak
there,
out.
we are one of the more positive Magic the Gathering podcasts.
I
So
distinctly remember being told once that you could put $100 bills in the Magic packs, and Magic players will complain about how they're folded. So when they did Modern Masters and they announced Modern Masters and they said, we're reprinting Tarmogoyf, and then they showed the new artwork for Tarmogoyf, everybody complained.
I mean, if you
So that's literally what happened. They put $100 bills in the packs, and, well, I don't like that artwork. It looks too coherent. What happened to the other one that was ambiguous, and I couldn't tell what the hell was going on?
I'm a reasonable man, but if you crease my $100 bill over Ben Franklin's face, you're a moron, and I'm going to fight you in real life. So that's just a fact.
I think it speaks of class privilege that you care about how your hundreds are.
Oh
Folded.
God. Did you just? Oh wow, I'm feeling a little called out. I mean,
so next week, join us when we are going to talk about rising up and seizing the means of production,
and possibly
and
guillotine me?
just eating the bourgeoisie.
Am I being eaten? I don't know how I ended up in. I wear a button up. I'm not part of the bourgeoisie
button-ups.
just because I wear button ups.
We're talking about these premium cardboard squares.
Yeah, I guess if you
I'm kind of expecting you to address me as Prol for the remainder of our group chat on Facebook. So,
we could probably change your name to that in the chat. That'd be fun.
don't I have to do it, or
I think
can you change
admins
someone
can.
else's name?
Oh, admins can.
Fuck, all right, I guess.
I guess
sure,
that's
why
something
not?
that I have the privilege to do. Oh God! Please don't cut my head off on the next episode. Please don't. Oh God! Oh God! Oh no! Oh.
So-
I almost missed that one.
So
That was
I
something.
think that brings up a question, though. I mean, to a fair bit of everything that Wizards of the Coast does is a little bit of a cash grab. I mean, they're a company, they make money, but is this just kind of let's pump some money out of reprinting cards that
Well, I think
you
that's
could functionally get other ways?
I've got some thoughts on that, and I think a lot of other people do, specifically with Grand Prix and Grand Prix attendance or Magic Fest attendance.
Is it just kind of a
Allegedly, and I'm not sure because I haven't bothered looking at the numbers, I've been getting told by various sources both that, oh no, Grand Prix attendance is fine, and others saying, well, Grand Prix attendance is suffering. I don't know. One of us will do the research.
Yeah, we should. Yeah,
And get back to
the
everybody
Magic
next week.
Fests now. Well, there's still
as to what's going on. I mean, it would make sense if attendance is kind of suffering and they want to do something cool, like, hey, you got this promo if you want to play, and they started doing the non.
and there's nothing wrong with doing cool things at conventions and stuff
that's
like that. I mean,
definitely
that's
and we can buy. There is going to be a store version, and
Yeah.
hopefully it's very no. Because that's the,
hopefully it's similar. I do want to see those playtest cards.
yeah. I want those because if those are only convention cards, those are going to be real pricey.
Yeah.
And another expensive thing that you might want to collect. I'm okay if it's maybe if the store product is different, so we don't know everything, and so we try to preserve that mystery. I'm with that. If we're
Yeah.
trying to make the convention ones the money ones, so you gotta go to one of these, that's where it puts a bad taste in my
Yeah.
mouth. Because we do need reprints. I mean, I think that's one of the main things a lot of, particularly people who are getting into Commander, we need reprints. So if this is how we're going to see a bunch of reprints, okay. And they also, I think there's been a lot of people saying, you released too much cool stuff this last year.
Heaven forbid.
They also, it was a little exhausting going from War of the Spark, and then we're doing these cool Japanese alternate art War of the Spark, and then we're doing Modern Horizons, and then we're doing a cool core set, and then we're going into Eldraine, and we're doing Gideon's Spellbook in the middle of this, and the Commander decks. That was a lot of stuff. And so November, we always release some kind of product. The fact that you don't need to buy this, if you already have the cards you needed for your Commander deck, or whatever deck, you don't need to go out and buy this. If you are looking for a cool new environment, or a way to get reprints, this exists. It's around the holidays, so maybe you can go, hey, I want a box of this for Christmas. So I'm happy that we're getting this now. I'm going to reserve final judgment till I see the differences in the convention product to the store product. But generally, I'm pretty happy that we're getting something like this.
So Speaking about the holidays, have you heard
Oh,
of
boy.
Inked Gaming?
Ad time.
Our sponsor. So if you're looking for a one-stop shop to get all your gaming accessories, head on over to inkedgaming.com. Inked Gaming has custom and store art playmats, dice bags, PC gaming mouse, tons of other things for you and your purchasing pleasure. Inked has added a stitched option to their playmats, giving them extra durability, playability, all those good things you want. Play your game with style. inkedgaming.com. Be sure to click the link below and use the code TCG University at checkout to support us and get a discount on your order.
Alrighty.
That native advertising.
Right?
No, I'm not sure if that's native advertising. It's close.
I don't think the audience even realized that was an ad. I think we got one over
Just
on them.
professing our love of ink.
Oh, honestly, speaking of the holidays, I think we tricked them. I think we've subliminally
They're
tricked
fooled.
them.
I'm so sorry.
So,
So, last topic.
last topic. We're gonna move on from that. Again, we might, depending on the info we find from this, we might talk about this on a later show. But yeah, we're gonna move on to our last topic. Our last topic is Pioneer, and we just had some Pioneer bans, and we're doing kind of a unique ban situation with Pioneer. So because it's a new format, they told us initially we're gonna do all sorts of bans on this. They aren't gonna necessarily follow our scheduled ban announcements. And then they gave us further information. They said starting last Monday, and every Monday going forward, we're going to have a banned announcement for Pioneer. We aren't necessarily going to ban things every Monday. We're going to talk about the format. And we got our first ban last Monday, and we got Oath of Nissa banned, Leyline of Abundance, and Felidar Guardian. And
Such
so
a pretty card.
the decks we targeted there is we got any of the Saheeli copycat decks. We talked about that in a previous episode where you can use Felidar Guardian and Saheeli Ray
Just to flicker. And...
to do an infinite combo. I think everyone saw that one coming. I don't think anyone was like, no.
After playing some of Pioneer, it was definitely a deck that people were playing. It was putting up some numbers, but going off on turn 4, if your opponent doesn't have any way to interact with you, or going off on potentially turn 6 and being able to protect half of the combo.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason, I'm remembering their announcement, part of it was, or maybe this was commentary I read elsewhere, but you can kind of put those two cards in other decks. And so I think the fear was, if you're like, here are 8 slots or 6 slots or 5 slots, let's just slip this in this other deck, and we drew it, we won. So I'm not shocked by this. Dave's, I think, the only one of the three of us who's really been playing Pioneer, so I'm not going to have firm, this was a good choice. But
I've been playing Mono Black, and take my opinion with a grain of salt on that, I guess.
So
a note on the ban schedule, though, I do like, and I think the community has responded well to a cyclical ban cycle and we will announce it on this day. That allows you to support the Pioneer format with tournaments and events on a consistent schedule, and it helps players construct and learn about their decks on a consistent schedule that they're not going to have sudden surprises or anything like that. So I think that's pretty positive.
In all honesty, if you get burnt out on the format and get tired of losing to the same strategy, same deck, if something does become overly domineering, then wait a week.
Yeah.
Yep.
If it's a really big problem, they'll get rid of it. I'm looking at you, Aetherworks Marvel.
Yeah, and the other ban, real quick, it was the other 2 cards, but so the Oath of Nissa and the Leyline of Abundance. Leyline of Abundance is part of the multiple Leyline cycles we've had. It's a 4-mana enchantment. You get to start with it on the battlefield.
The important parts of it are it adds 2 devotion for nothing, 2 devotion to green for your Nykthoses, and it allows your mana dudes to tap for double.
Which is nice.
And then the Oath of Nissa was seen in a lot of those decks.
That's your green mana.
It's a 1-mana. Oath is a 1-mana green enchantment. You get to look at the top 3 cards. I think you got to put a planeswalker or creature into your hand.
Planeswalker or creature.
Permanent. That could be.
So I believe you can get a land as well. I'll have to double check.
Okay, planeswalker creature
Not
or land.
enchantment then. All right. So I guess that's fair. You can't chain those.
Then
can you?
And then you can spend mana as though a mana of any color to cast planeswalkers, I think.
Yep, that is correct.
Okay.
it feels like that kind of goes back to the copycat decks, because if you want to, a lot of the copycat decks would be playing Oath of Nissa as well as the mono green devotion decks,
And-
so it gives you card selection. It fixes your mana to be able to
fixes
have
mana.
greedy strategies. You know, you're playing base.
It's
green.
combo enabling.
Oh yeah, and you can, so now all of a sudden with your green mana, you can play your Saheelis with whatever mana you have. You can play Teferi, and if you really want to get cute, you can bounce your Oath of Nissa with Teferi to go 4 cards deeper.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
get to
thing.
draw your card
Yeah,
and play it again.
I don't think Oath of Nissa was really a problem in and of itself. I think it enables problems.
You know, it enabled those, and the devotion decks wanted it too. It was more devotion we got to keep on the table for those huge Nykthos activations. They also said it was enabling people to get 3-mana planeswalkers down too fast, Teferi and Oko in particular. And so those are 2 cards that are in standard that we discussed previously. They're really pushing their 3-mana walkers, and so this is in Pioneer. I read this as saying, we don't want to ban Teferi or Oko right now. We're going to ban Oath of Nissa and see if they're less of an issue.
Right.
So there's been a little pushback, too, on the ban cycle. I've heard some people say, like, oh, that's too many bans. I want to buy a deck. I want to do this. I want to do that. And it's...
I think they have said, though, that they aren't necessarily banning something.
Yeah,
every
yeah,
Monday.
they are not...
That's just when it would be announced.
They could very well say no changes. We don't see anything as being a problem. You know, keep playing it until it breaks.
Yep.
And so, again, I'm not playing actively. I'm somewhat interested in this format because I have, unlike Modern, I have this mana base. I have enough shock lands and check lands and all sorts of cards to actually put one of these decks together. I love Nykthos. I love those mono green decks. Apparently, some of those mono green devotions were like casting Walking Ballista for 16 on like turn 3. So like,
yeah,
that seems too good.
They had some potential, really stupid potential. Could be a problem. Could be
Bad
as
having.
I porky pig that real
Yes.
quick. They could do some very busted things very, very quickly if you don't interact with them.
And it sounds like they didn't completely destroy. I mean, they left us Nykthos, and they said like we want to give people options that have interesting decks. You're playing mono black devotion.
Start with a light hand.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just playing one Nykthos because from experience, whenever you are light on lands and you're like, I really need to have a third land, when you draw the the second Nykthos, then you just kind of want to flip the table. There are plenty of times where your opening hand are a bunch of double black cards and you have Swamp Nykthos.
Yeah.
And that just feels terrible.
And for the uninitiated Nykthos?
Nykthos taps for Wingdings. We're still calling it that.
Oh, boy.
I'm still calling it
A
that.
colorless.
Colorless.
It's a legendary land.
It is a legendary land. Taps for colorless, or you can pay 2 and tap it to add devotion, add mana equal to your devotion of a color of your choice to the mana pool. So you can't, like in the mono green strategies, you open with Leyline or double Leyline. You can go turn 1 Forest Mana Dork, turn 2 Nykthos. And you've got 1 green with your Mana Dork. You've got
2 green because we were 3 green because of the ley lines.
You've got the 2 from whichever for every ley line that you have in play, and it just starts getting really, really unfair very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And then you just
Normally
run
the first activation isn't going to be the good one, but subsequent activations are just going to get dumber and dumber.
That's and I played a ton of Nykthos when it was in Standard. I loved in Commander. Like that's some kind of devotion deck or green ramp sounds really fun. Personally, I don't have a Magic Online collection, and I don't probably have enough of. I'd have to buy some cards for it. I'm gonna wait till locally it starts showing up, and once we're out of this weekly ban cycle. And they said this is not obviously forever. There's a new format. They're trying to keep it open. Once we kind of
push it in paper a little bit too, I think.
I mean, people are super psyched for paper. This is Star City Games has changed a bunch of. They got rid of Legacy.
Though to be fair, I heard some of it. The standard was because of Oko.
People don't want to have to play against Oko.
There was a tournament though that had 2 people. It was a $5,000 tournament. I can't think of the company that was putting it on, and they had 2 people signed up for standard. And so they said if we get 50 people to pre-register, we are going to switch it to Pioneer. And they got a ton of people super fast, and now it's Pioneer. And so Star City Games is dropping, I think they're dropping Legacy, at least for some of their events, and replacing with Pioneer.
Well, Legacy was on the way out anyway, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's just too expensive to not be any place but online. And I think that's what Wizard wants. Wizards, when they release Modern, it's like, oh, this isn't to replace Legacy. And then Pioneer isn't to replace Modern, but now they can say Vintage and Legacy, we have Eternal Weekend, you can play them on Magic Online.
If you
But
live
now-
in Europe, then there's actually a thriving community for that, and I think a lot of the coasts too.
Seattle's got a legacy scene, I think.
I think if you're pulling in six figures, you can totally play vintage if you want to.
Yeah, so I don't
and
think
it's becoming that point for legacy, unfortunately. But
Let's-
that's a bit of hyperbole from the prole.
I mean,
But,
no, I mean,
but hear me out. Let's push Popper.
oh, I mean, the Poppers. I mean, the fact we got a unified ban list. I'm excited for Popper. I'm curious. Again, I don't know much about the mystery booster set, but I'm curious if they changed rarity on anything. Probably not, but it's possible. And if they did, that's more Popper cards.
Well,
I mean, hypothetically, you could.
I mean,
even yeah, I guess allowing things into Popper. I don't know. My mind immediately went to Oubliette's not on the reserve list.
It's not.
That is absolutely a card that they could reprint.
the
and
most-
that feels like a good set to do it in.
So it's the most. So I think I read somewhere it's not in there. I don't think it goes back to alliances, is what somebody on Reddit said. So this is not gospel. But somebody said they don't believe Oubliette is going to be in it.
Arabian Nights.
Arabian Nights. Okay, it doesn't go. I think maybe it says that it goes up to alliances. It doesn't go earlier than that. Again,
Anyway,
you know more than me because you future people have seen much more than
the
I.
future.
The dystopian hellscape of next Monday.
Next Monday. I mean, to be fair, it's who knows how bad
Who
it's going to be
knows?
then. So I'm.
We are living in the darkest timeline, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely,
We're
we are.
not. I promise.
I mean, we are both
It
rocking.
gets so much worse.
it gets so much
JC
worse.
the optimist.
So okay, generally, so yeah, no one seems to have a lot of rage or vitriol about the band schedule, at least here in the podcast.
I like it.
Reddit always
for,
does.
For Pioneer, I think
I
that's
like consistency.
absolutely fine.
Yep.
Like what I would love to be able to do is get to a point where Paradox Engine Storm is playable.
Okay.
I don't
course
think
you
that's
would.
going to happen. I don't think that will be possible. But I would love to see it.
But I like Pioneer.
I mean, the deck lists I've seen look super cool. It's one of those. Sometimes I look at modern lists and it'll be like, oh, that looks cool, but oh, that looks pricey. When I look at Pioneer's list, it's like, oh, I have that card.
Right.
Oh, I have that card. Or, oh, I remember that card. Or, that card's not too bad. Or
Yeah.
I mean,
For the most part-
it's using a lot of your installed base of cards that you're getting because you're playing in Standard and Brawl and those kind of
and
things.
I mean, I think like I was kind of getting at earlier with it. Wizards is happy to kind of set Legacy and Vintage off to the side. Obviously, they'll still be supported, but less and less people can afford it. But now we've got Modern. It's cards from 8th edition. 8th edition's so old. Like in my
Yeah.
head, this is a problem I have.
8th edition was what?
So-
12, 13
I was in
years
high school
ago?
at the time.
14?
So,
Goodness.
do you guys look at what if I look at a card and it has a 8th edition border or forward? In my head, it's not an old card. It's like this is like a new card. Because the old border for me is I started playing right during the border transition, and so old cards look really old, and anything with that 8th edition border forward feels new.
It was fancy.
But then it'll be like my spouse Ray was sitting down to play Commander with people, and people are like, "Oh, those cards are old," and Ray's like, "This is Scars of Mirrodin." But those are like 10-year-old cards now.
Yeah. They are.
Ah.
So Pioneer feels like, oh, these cards
I
are
don't know.
so.
8th edition feels like a while ago to me.
I
It
mean,
was, unfortunately.
I guess for me, 8th edition feels like a time where I was still like about right around when I started playing Magic. So it's just like I have memories of these cards. All those old border cards feel like mysterious and ancient, but like I don't get that vibe with the new border. But it's just we're all so old, I guess.
And on that note,
Yeah, I just remember viewers that time passes faster than you think. We're all crawling faster and faster towards our deaths, and that yeah. It all ends in darkness. So,
Jesus Christ, lighten up, Brad.
any
I thought
final
I was
thoughts?
bad with the dark timeline.
Any final thoughts? Or anyone want to say anything so we don't end on that?
I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with this Mythic Championship coming up. Honest to God, I want to see. I want to see a deck that's not Noko deck win. I would really like to see somebody just take
Hype for
blue-white
that.
control and just take all these food decks to the mat.
Ooh,
Like,
but if that happens, we're gonna get that blue-white control mirror. And game one, those decks have like 4 or 5 cards that win, and we don't have time limits. Oh man, if we get a blue-white control mirror, we're gonna have like an hour and a half long game. It's gonna be miserable. I cannot wait. I'm gonna sit there and watch two people. Pass. Your turn. Your turn. Do I try my mass maneuver? No, I'm not gonna try.
but I
Your
agree.
turn.
It'll be good to get some statistics and some, feedback from what happens.
it's,
So,
I mean, Moda's one thing, but the Moda metagame is not the end all be all.
No.
You're
Agreed.
gonna have a lot of people that are going to look at, okay, well, this is clearly currently the best dominating strategy. so I'm just going to do this.
Right.
There's no
I'm
incentive
going.
for me to
I'm
try
going
and
to go ahead
innovate.
and net deck this.
The best
Yeah.
players in the world are going to decide what's the deck to win this tournament with, and
Right.
so I'm hoping to I'm hoping to be proven right and be like I was right and there were 30,000 Okos and it should be banned, haha. But we'll see.
We'll see.
I hope I'm wrong because that means we don't have to ban cards and that's good. But I think we're gonna need an Oko ban, but we'll have to wait and see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Anything else from either of you guys?
No.
Okay. This has been another episode of MTG Study Hall. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry if I made anyone's life worse with that downer at the end there. Appreciate you tuning in. Everybody have a good week. We'll see you a week from now, which is Monday for you. And have a good one. And remember who you are. Thanks so much, guys.